kancane kancane sizophumelela ababakho ngibana
Yasimnyama ngekani sakebhula umhlaba zawubukisa phansi naphezulu iyo Jose siyabulela Yasimnyama ngekani sakebhula umhlaba zawubukisa phansi naphezulu iyo Jose siyabulela wafika eMzantsi Afrika.
In a classical Rulani Mokoena's words, famous words, when he said the team did not lose the match, but they ran out of time. I think Orlando Pirates did not draw against Mamelodi Sundowns, but they just happened to run out of time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Big Daddy Football Corner. And my name is the Big Daddy. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, kindly subscribe once again. And those who have subscribed, danko. And those who will keep watching, this channel, I really appreciate it. You could watch any other channel, but you decided to switch on every time Orlando Pirates has played. You know that when the video comes out, it's because Orlando Pirates has played. And again, the games just keep on piling up each and every second, and the next minute is the next match. Next minute we need to jump into the next match. So this one is the post-match tactical analysis, of the match between Orlando Pirates and Mamelodi Sundowns. Gameplay, the Eskamamenzeli scored, Orlando Pirates drawing that game 1-1, with Mamelodi Sundowns. Before the game, it was very interesting for everyone, even including myself, as well as Orlando Pirates supporters, to say, how will the coach react on the backlash that he has been receiving, especially not playing the players that have been playing, for Orlando Pirates and I mean last season with Jose. And honestly, in my honest observation, I think Orlando Pirates is playing the same way that they've been playing since game one. The difference is that in the past two games, they have not got the results. But if you go watch the avalanche amount of chances that Orlando Pirates got, that they could have won this match, but they didn't. Even in this Sundowns match, I feel this match cancelled each other, because I think Orlando Pirates had massive chances to have scored the goal. To have scored the goal. There was the chance Kahoto, Watatazela once again. There was Umahopa as well, chance as well. On the other side was also Sebelebele on the other end, in the first minute, as well as Sundowns. They are Matthews, Reyners, they had chances as well. I think this match could have easily finished 3-3, or even 4-4, in this particular match, or one team winning 4-3. But it was a very interesting and a tactical game from both teams, which was very interesting to see. And for me, maybe the other observation is, I think the Orlando Pirates surface, man, isn't at its best in terms of the stadium, especially the side where Ushaina started on and where Williams ended on. I think it's not one of the, it's not one of the best games, or best fields in this instance. And then when we go into the lineup, obviously there's changes that the coach made, bringing Utiano, bringing Umbata. And then the risk of doing that was that these players have not really played so much, in the past three games, and they don't have any legs, or any games on their legs for the past. And for me, it was going to be a battle. That's why I'm not surprised that both players were subbed. I heard Wuti also Umbata was subbed because of Emma Krems and stuff like that. But then let's go maybe to the first half. For me, my biggest worry when the game started, I kept on seeing Sundowns, two players, Usales as well as Matthews, staying in the pockets, and Orlando Pirates always leaving them free. And I think for me, Ulimala was one, to a certain extent, it affected the Sundowns, because everybody was watching or looking out for Uzwane to be the one playing in the pockets. Instead, he dropped a little bit, and make the triangle a little bit shorter. But then on the half spaces, it was more dominant Matthews as well as Usales. And I think Orlando Pirates in those instances, they kept on so many times, leaving those players free. The other observation was Orlando Pirates again. A plan for this particular game was to overload Isai Modiba. And I think Sebelebele was brought into this game solely to attack Modiba at pace. And this is how also Orlando Pirates won the last match, of the league that was played that was played the second leg of Orlando Pirates match. I think it was played at FNB, last season. Again, it was an overload on the right hand side. And again, this game, it was a hell lot. But I just felt that in some instances we were not switching the ball to the right flank quickly, because there was always two or a player that was free, because Sundowns a little bit pushed also their defensive line too high in my own view, and Orlando Pirates did not exploit that chance a lot of times. I think Unduli, that pass that he played to Sebelebele, that should have been a goal, and it was ruled as an offside. And again, it's another game that Orlando Pirates scoring a clear, or the referee not awarding them what they should have awarded them, because previously it was the penalty, now it is the Sebelebele issue, and then for me, the double pivot, man, the double pivot, Nduli, no Mbata. I think they did play fairly well, but I just felt that because they have not played for so long, sometimes there was, you could see that they don't have the synergy in between them. Again, also the centre back, Yabomboaz and Siema, in my own view, I just felt that at times they were also playing too far away from each other. And I think in some instances they got dragged out of their position, on 1v1 situation. So all the times you could see it, especially in the first half, where there was 1v1 situation across the field, especially with those two. So every time you find them, that it'll always be 1-1, or sometimes it becomes a 2-2, and there's no overload in terms of Orlando Pirates having numerical superiority into that environment. And I think for me, those two combinations, I think they need to play more so that they can get used to each other. But the one year Yabomboaz is very, very interesting for me. As much as Bonke Babo Shoti, but I honestly think that could also develop to become one of the best centre-back pairing, because Usiema for me impresses. He impressed me. He impressed me the most about how brave he is on the ball. He's not afraid, to make that pass and make that mistake. He's not afraid that when the space, available for him, he attacks, the space that is in front of him. Then the other thing as well, I felt Sundowns as well. They were very, very brave in terms of how they pushed their line. Even when Orlando Pirates kept poking that space, that high line, they kept on playing that high line. But I just felt that Orlando Pirates had a goal coming, from such a situation. Then Orlando Pirates conceded a goal. Again, Mokoena, free header in the central corridor. Guys, I think it's not funny anymore, this thing in Orlando Pirates, because it has become a joke, if we can be honest, I wonder if the team does have a plan, or even if they do practice set pieces, because if they do, it's not showing. Again, Diano versus, Tebogo Mokoena inside the box. For me, that 1v1, it's a height mismatch. And I don't understand why in those set pieces you keep on wanting having Diano to mark Mokoena. And it happened the entire game. I think I watched 3 corner kicks. The first one, it was a goal where I felt that Mokoena could have been judged. Uguti, it was a foul, but I think also it wasn't really a foul. He just bullied Diano. Second time again, he bullied Diano. And third time again, he also bullied, Sebelebele. And it was a free header. He almost scored. So in the entire match, Mokoena won all 3 headers, on corner kicks. And really, I still don't understand why Orlando Pirates is still not showing signs of improving in that. Who actually rubber stamp, this thing Gatiano versus Tebogo Mokoena? And why are we having the tallest player, Evidence Makopa, guarding the near post on corner kicks? To me, that doesn't make sense. Then again, I'm also saying China also needs to take a blame, on this corner kicks, because once you have 2 players guarding the near post and the far post, it gives you as a goalkeeper a chance that every time the ball is played, you can come out. And when you come out, you need to be sure that you get to the ball. If you don't get the ball, at least get a punch onto the ball. And for me, his timing to get out of his area and get out on and get into the ball has always been a problem. Then in the second half, Orlando Pirates scored the goal. Kamogelo Sebelebele, Nkosi yami waze wasithwala mntana abantu. Because I honestly think that he carried Orlando Pirates, in this match. And for me, he was Orlando Pirates' best player, on both the first and the second half. And for me, he deserved the man of the match. I still don't understand how Mtinyola got the man of the match, but it is what it is. Thank you, Sebelebele. His engine, his stamina, his speed, his endurance, his dribbling speed, at which how he get away from the area in terms of dribbling and how he eliminate opponents very quickly, and how he attack and how he has the timing to always position himself to attack the final third with speed and pace and get into dangerous areas. I think Orlando Pirates have a player there, and I think Orlando Pirates is gonna eat nicely into that zone. Then with that particular player. Again, evidence Mahopa. Typical, just like Utiano Hoto, those players, they are one of the most hard-working players. It also talks to what I've always been saying, that at times football, sometimes football, you don't really need to be the most technical gifted player. But if you are one of the most hard-working player, football is going to reward you. And Mahopa is one of that. Again, also, Hoto is one of them. Those are the players that when they miss chances or they fumbled, on certain decision making, you sit and you say to yourself, that's a Mahopa. You should expect that. That's a Diano. You should expect that. Yeah, but then again, I was also on Soccer Beat, on TikTok, before the match, and my prediction was it was going to be a 1-1 draw, or it was going to be a 2-2 draw, and Orlando Pirates is gonna go, to Loftus and actually take that game and actually win it. And for me, I'm still hopeful that Orlando Pirates is gonna go, away and actually win this particular match. And then the last thing to talk on, or maybe two things to touch on, is Utito. I honestly feel that he's not at his best. And one thing that I'm going to say to obviously say coach is brave, especially coach Abdesalam, because he's able to substitute Utito in games where he feels he's not playing well. And I think that, and on this channel I've been saying last season, coach Jose was not subbing Utito in most of the games. He was leaving him even when he's not playing well. And I think Abdesalam is doing that. There will come a point where Utito will sit in the bench. And I think Utito really needs to sit in the bench, because I think it will revive him. Because when a player is not at his best, and when we keep on talking about tactical discipline and not playing, in the half, not exploiting, the spaces in between the lines, and not sticking to playing in front of the pivot and always dropping and collecting the ball, and how tactically it kind of defeats the purpose of having a 10, in this instance. Even if we keep saying that he keep getting played. I want him to be benched, not because he's a bad player, because we want the Tito that plays for Badamfana. The last thing is, Orlando Pirates again scored from a long ball played from the centre back. I've been seeing a lot of tweets, people saying Orlando Pirates keeps on playing long ball. I'm asking myself, if you have a low block, or if you have the central corridor overloaded with numbers, what do? You play a diagonal ball, you play a vertical pass, and you isolate, or you bypass and isolate the midfield. And also you create 1v1 situation on the sides, because that is how you beat a low block. How do you expect to beat a low block if we don't play those long balls? But anyway, it's what it is. Perfect. If there's anything that I've missed, please let me know. Like, share, and comment. Tanko mapagani.